Welcome back to The Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled to dive into today's topic, mostly because it touches on something so incredibly common, universally human, yet deeply, deeply complex on a neurological level. Today, we're going to deconstruct the architecture of the imaginary argument. Yep, that thing you do almost every single day where you find yourself completely absorbed in a heated dispute with someone who isn't even in the room. What feels like just a simple, harmless daydream is actually exposing a massive vulnerability in your brain's cognitive architecture, while also acting as a surprisingly powerful tool. So let me ask you something. Have you ever completely, totally won a fake argument? Oh, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You're standing under the hot water in the shower, the shampoo is all lathered in your hair, and you are absolutely destroying your opponent in an argument that never actually took place. You deliver the absolute perfect comeback, you leave them totally speechless, you feel this massive rushing surge of triumph. But the second you turn off the water and step out onto that cold bath mat, reality hits. The rush of triumph just evaporates. The argument is totally fake and the opponent isn't even there. You are literally fighting a ghost in your own mind. And this brilliantly illustrates a major issue we face. These mental loops, they aren't just harmless little quirks of the human imagination. While your physical body is just sitting there quietly, your brain is burning an immense amount of cognitive energy running these hypothetical simulations. Your brain treats these unresolved conflicts exactly like open software tabs running continuously in the background of your smartphone. You know how that completely drains a device's battery? Well, it drains your mental battery the exact same way. It takes a massive physical and cognitive toll to constantly process conflicts that don't actually exist in the physical world. Okay, so here is our agenda for today. We're going to break this messy human habit into a clear, step-by-step mechanical breakdown. Number 1, the ghost in the shower. 2, the default mode network. 3, mutating your episodic memory. 4, the brain's closure trap. 5, threat simulation protocol. And finally, 6, shutting down the loop. Let's move right into section 1, the ghost in the shower, and explore exactly what happens when our minds drift away from the present moment. So your mind constantly drifts, right? You lie in bed at night, staring at the ceiling, replaying some horribly awkward social interaction from literally 5 years ago. And you rewrite the script. You give yourself the ultimate savage reply that you wish you'd said. You construct these elaborate scenarios where the people who ignored you finally realize your true worth. You basically spend hours living in a universe full of drama and conversations that just do not exist. But why do we do this? Well, you rely on these fantasies because your physical reality is lacking the exact emotional closure your mind is demanding. Because you didn't get that specific resolution in real life, you avoid real-world confrontation and retreat into these safe, hypothetical victories where you control absolutely all the variables. But what is actually driving this process? Let's transition over to section 2, the default mode network. To really grasp what's happening under the hood here, we have to talk about the default mode network, or the DMN. Think of the DMN as your brain's autopilot. It is this massive neural structure connecting two incredibly important regions. First, you have your medial prefrontal cortex, which basically manages your sense of self and your internal goals. And that connects directly to your posterior cingulate cortex, which acts as the part of your brain that pulls up your memories. Together, they are the absolute powerhouse of your internal narrative. When you step into the shower or go for a quiet walk, your external cognitive load drops to near zero. You're doing a highly routine, repetitive physical behavior. And the instant you stop focusing on complex tasks in the outside world, that lack of external demand immediately hands control of your brain over to the DMN. Your autopilot switches right on. Let's see how this builds through an exact mechanical sequence. Step 1, you have that low external load. You're just washing your hair, requiring pretty much zero conscious thought. Step 2, the DMN shifts your brain into spontaneous cognition and mind wandering. You completely stop paying attention to the soap in the water, and you start simulating a social reality. Then comes step 3, which is absolutely fascinating. The DMN forces you to mentalize. You begin predicting the intentions, the beliefs, and the reactions of others by engaging a specific brain region called your temporoparietal junction. Think of this junction as your brain's empathy center. It's the hardware that actually allows you to put yourself in someone else's shoes, letting you reflect on the minds of your imaginary opponents. You are generating their responses in real time. This is exactly how that ghost enters the shower with you. Let's move along to section 3, mutating your episodic memory, to explore how your brain finds the fuel for these arguments. Now, your brain absolutely hates failure. When you experience a suboptimal social interaction, say a colleague makes a snide remark and you completely freeze up, your episodic memory stores the raw data of that failure. Your episodic memory system is essentially your brain's ability to perform mental time travel. It's what lets you re-experience past events. So later on, your default mode network pulls that memory up and starts actively mutating the raw data. You engage in what cognitive scientists call upward counterfactual thinking. Honestly, that's just a fancy way of saying you're playing a game of what if, but you are heavily rigging the game so that you win. You imagine a strictly better outcome than reality. Your brain flexibly recombines elements of past experiences into a brand new representation, allowing you to seamlessly insert the perfect comeback you thought of 3 hours too late. And your brain is doing some massive, heavy lifting here. Parts of your brain, like the inferior parietal lobule, are working overtime to hold the actual embarrassing memory, while simultaneously juggling the fake, victorious alternative in your working memory. You literally rewrite the past to protect your ego. By doing this, your brain relies on a cognitive shortcut called the simulation heuristic. This heuristic basically judges the likelihood of a future event based on how easily you can construct a mental scenario about it. So the more you rehearse this fake argument, the easier it is to picture and the more plausible the victory feels. You are systematically tricking your own nervous system into believing you actually won the encounter.
Which brings us nicely to Section 4, the brain's closure trap. Why on earth do we get so relentlessly stuck in this loop?
Well, it all comes down to the Zeigarnik effect. Your brain is, at its core, a completion machine. It absolutely despises loose ends. The Zeigarnik effect is a psychological rule dictating that unfinished experiences and unresolved conflicts occupy significantly more mental space than finished ones. So, an unanswered text message, a sudden insult you didn't reply to, or an unresolved argument, they leave a massive cognitive open loop. It's an itch you can't scratch. Because physical reality failed to provide an ending to that interaction, your imagination forcibly creates an ending to fill the gap. Your brain demands absolute closure, and it will just manufacture a fictional reality if it has to. Trace this chain reaction with me. Step 1, you start with an unresolved conflict. Step 2, your brain demands closure because it hates that open loop. Step 3, you simulate an imaginary victory. And then, step 4, this is the crucial part, you get a massive neurochemical payoff, a dopamine release. This is mind-blowing. Your brain doesn't just release dopamine when you achieve a real victory in the real world, it releases it when you simply anticipate a reward. When you imagine destroying your enemy in a fake argument, you experience the exact biological emotion of winning. You're getting a neurochemical high off a ghost.
The crucial point here really comes down to a single number: 0. 0 is the exact amount of real-world effort required to get this dopamine spike. Imaginary rewards require 0 risk, 0 vulnerability, and 0 effort, which is exactly why your brain vastly prefers this effortless fantasy over the harshness of reality. It's the path of least resistance, which pretty much guarantees you'll be having another fake argument tomorrow. Furthermore, by relying on verbal linguistic thought during these mental arguments, meaning you argue with words instead of vividly visualizing the raw trauma of the actual event, you suppress autonomic arousal. You actively avoid the painful racing heart and the sweaty palms of a real confrontation. So it feels completely 100% safe.
But all of these mechanisms mask a much deeper function. Let's move to Section 5, Threat Simulation Protocol. Listen to this amazing insight. The hidden lever is entirely about future survival. This mechanism is not just about dwelling on past trauma, okay? It's not about punishing yourself. Your brain is actually running a highly advanced threat simulation protocol. By analyzing your past social failures and mutating them into hypothetical victories, your brain is actively programming your future behavior. Just look at the true purpose of this incredible simulation engine. You are using your episodic memory to mentally rehearse for upcoming conflicts before they ever even happen. You are testing out alternative perspectives safely in the confines of your own mind. You're building robust internal models of complex social dynamics so you don't get caught off guard next time. When your emotional needs are unmet in reality, the mind constructs these scenarios to deliver the exact feelings of being heard or chosen or understood. Ultimately, you are continuously updating your core semantic self-representation, meaning you are rewriting the fundamental story of who you are and exactly how strong you are. Your brain is desperately trying to align your memory, your self-concept, and your future social preparedness into one unbreakable system. Honestly, it's a brilliant adaptive survival tool.
But as brilliant as it is, it's a huge energy drain. So let's bring it all home with Section 6, shutting down the loop.
To manage this endless stream of unresolved loops and finally take back your cognitive battery, you have to externalize the data. You must shift from the endless mental loop of abstract social anxieties into a strict tracking system in the physical world. Identify the specific emotional deficit triggering your current mental argument. Stop visualizing the hypothetical victory. Instead, open a notebook, a to-do app, or your calendar and define the exact physical action required to resolve that conflict in reality. Literally write it down. Forcing abstract anxieties into rigid physical tasks closes the loop externally. It instantly shuts down the Zeigarnik protocol, telling your brain the job is handled, which frees you up to actually focus on the real world. Which leaves us with this final, critical question to reflect on. Are your hypothetical victories costing you real-world dominance? Stop fighting ghosts in the shower. Use the incredible power of your default mode network and your episodic memory to understand what you actually need, and then step out of the mental simulation to take real, physical action. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I seriously challenge you to catch yourself the very next time you start an imaginary argument.